Hello.
And welcome to Film
Bastards. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to episode 531 of Film Bastards. My name is Ian Loring, and as always, I'm joined by
Becky Foster. Hello, everybody.
I'm Matt Foster. Hello, everybody.
Hello, one and all. And I say as always, I'm joined by, but I wasn't here for episode 530 because work at the moment is currently like being stuck in Vietnam waiting for a rescue chopper.
Oh.
So, I would like to say thank you very much to Mark and Becky for doing Oscarbation without me. I just want to... I listened to all 3 hours of it yesterday. And for those who haven't listened to it, I would very much encourage you to. It's a very good show, and the guys talk like movie news and what they've been watching as well. But also, just some of the things that I messaged them during the show. Big Theo, enunciate, ya bitch. After the backlash of Bradley Walsh's nose.
That was intentional.
Indeed. What's Jimmy Kimmel? And the interaction, I think it was like not a top category this, to which the response was, I don't know, I heard them all. So, for that and other absolute fucking gold, the Zendaya dressed normally and not like a Tin Man was good as well. Absolute gold, and you definitely don't need to have watched the Oscars for it. And on occasion, the guys say, "Well, you can't really hear what's going on in the background." You can through some of it, but that's good because you do get a sense of what's actually happening. So it worked. So I very much recommend Oscarbation 2024. But saying all that, we are back with a normal show. Yeah. And this week we will be talking about Ethan Coen and his apparently pansexual wife, which is context I learnt today.
Yeah, they're married, but they have separate relationships, separate other relationships.
Yeah, so they raise their kids together. They're married, but it works. It works.
Yeah. They have a non-traditional relationship. Is how they describe it.
And they have written what I think could be termed a non-traditional film, with Drive Away Dolls. So we'll be talking about Drive Away Dolls. Also, Oscarbation could not contain Ricky Stanicky, so it had to be discussed this week. Had to be. And also, just because I think we all watched it, we're going to review The Hunt for Red October.
Yep.
Good. So, we've also got movie news, some trailer talk, what we've been up to, etc. We are a Pod Syndicate podcast, so please do listen to like-minded shows such as The Good, The Bad and The Odd, Gaming Landfill, Ginger Joker vs. Punter, the Rewatch Project, and others. And let's get into it. Movie news. In Ian is Nostradamus. I'm going to say it myself, even though it was also incredibly obvious. Guess who's coming back for Scream 7? Neve Campbell.
Yeah.
So, Neve Campbell is starring in a Kevin Williamson directed but not written Scream 7. Which is an interesting choice. So, yep, she's got the script. She obviously got paid. Good for her. And we'll see what happens there. It could be super fucking mid. But we'll see.
I still think that they're going to bring Stu back.
I hope they do.
And his first line will be, "Surprise, Sydney."
I didn't
Yeah, and the excuse they will give, I think I've said this before to Ian, I think the excuse they will give for, he died, it'll be, well, no, he actually survived, but because of the trauma that it would have caused Sydney, it was kept a secret.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be the bullshit they come up with.
Yeah. I'm just very pleased with Neve Campbell, obviously getting a dump truck of cash piled on her lawn. Yeah, I don't know. Something about the fact that, like, they offered her enough for Scream 5, but then it was almost a little bit like, well, we don't necessarily need you anymore. And now that is completely fucking blown up in their faces. Which I don't know. I just find that quite entertaining, but we'll see. And I think I said when we talked about it last, it's like theoretically, her kids. I mean, maybe they're just maybe in, like, if it was set next year, would be just a little bit too early, because obviously Scream 4 was what, like 2010, 2011?
2011, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so if say she had a kid like the year after and it's released in 2027, that kid is going to be 15.
Yeah.
That's probably a little bit too young for that kid to be a Scream protagonist.
Yeah, but it's a couple of years, isn't it? Unless they just said it in the future.
They could do that, or they could just ignore it and go fuck it, or it could be Sydney is a mum trying to, like, protect her kids, and then in later, like, future films, the kids can become the main characters or something. That feels doable. I do hope as well, because I think it is kind of canon that the guy from Scream 3, played by Patrick Dempsey, is her husband, because he was called Mark. She references Mark in Scream 5.
Yeah.
So I hope Patrick Dempsey's back as well. And he can take some more money to go do his racing.
Yep.
So yeah, good on you, Neve Campbell. Get paid. Okay. What else have we got?
Not sure there's been that much happening, because it's probably like a lot of post-Oscars stuff, hasn't it?
I did enjoy Sydney Sweeney being asked about Madam Web and just going, like, I'm just an actress in that movie.
Yeah, I was paid to be an actress in the movie, and I was an actress in that movie. The thing is, there's an element of, you know what, fair enough. Yeah, I think there's a nod to the fact that, like, it's been made a big deal of the fact that a lot of the projects that she's doing now, she's a producer on. And so I think there's an element of that. I think it's, look, that was just an acting gig for me, whereas Immaculate that's coming out, that was a producing gig, and I think there was I read something like, is it called Immaculate, the new one she's got coming out?
Yeah.
Like, she auditioned for that like years ago, and like it was going to be made, and then like the financing ran out or something like that. So she bought the rights to it, and then basically went back in and went, "Oh, I want to make this now. I'm a big star."
Yeah, you say she auditioned for it and she got like a...
She got a small role, yeah. So she very much fucking Betty Biggins and went back in and went, "No, I want the main role now."
Fair play. And
Fair play.
I can't. I mean, like, Madam Web, the casting for that came at, like, an interesting time. I feel like if she was offered that role 6 months later, she probably would have said no.
Yeah.
Because, like, the only reason why Sydney Sweeney takes that role is because there is a chance of her being a Spider-Woman in the future. But, man, that film feels like it's going to be studied and talked about for fucking years to come.
She took that role because an agent went, "This is great exposure for you, and you might get like a few like big paydays out of it later on, which will mean you can do all these other bits that you really want to do. And she's gone, yeah. But then I think it's almost like she's made Anyone But You and gone, hang on a minute, I kind of wanted to do that. It got me loads of exposure and it made a good amount of money.
Yeah. I mean, there will be rom-coms released in cinemas over the next few years because Anyone But You did well.
Yeah.
No Hard Feelings tried to do that, didn't quite crack it. But Anyone But You.
Yeah, No Hard Feelings just had that. It had a weirdness to it. I enjoyed the film, but the premise was weird.
Is that the one where old Jennifer Lawrence has to fuck an underage kid?
Yeah, but it actually makes sense within the film, and it actually becomes weirdly charming within the film.
It is funny watching her come on to this kid who's just got no fucking idea what's going on.
Yeah, it
like
is.
That is funny.
It does work, but it's Anyone But You is an out and out fucking it's a rom-com and an unashamed one. And that's why it works so well. Because it's not trying to be a rom-com that has this other thing to it. It's not trying to be a Bunny Airs a podcast, an elevated rom-com. It's just a fucking rom-com.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm looking, by the way, fantastic Box Office Mojo replacement website, thenumbers.com. Holy shit, it's like old Box Office Mojo. Worldwide box office of $214 million, which is 8.6 times its production budget.
Yeah. So, and she was one of the executive producers on that. So
yeah, she's got paid.
100% will have got well weighed in on that, and that it will get a sequel.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? That's fantastic. That reminds me, talking about Madam Web, Venom 3 will be with us in October and has been titled Venom: The Last Dance, which is an incredible subtitle. They know exactly what they're doing with those films. I think it was on the Big Picture podcast, Sean Fennessy described it as the Venom films are doing what the Deadpool films think they're doing, but they're not. Venom's doing it. Which I thought was kind of interesting. Like, I like the Deadpool films, but Venom's, like, doing... It's being weirdly subtle while still being very out there with how piss-takey they're being. But hey, Tom Hardy's screenwriter mate gets her directorial debut. Tom Hardy's got a fucking, I think, a screenwriting credit on this, if memory serves. It's fast becoming one of my most anticipated films of towards the end of the year.
I mean, the fact that it's called Venom Last Dance is great.
That's fucking great. It's just like, if they do anything where Venom says, and I took that personally, or so, I mean, it'll be wonderful.
The thing is, you could see them doing that.
Yeah. Great, good stuff. It's interesting because I feel like it's almost like, is this just a good opportunity this like year for the Sony Spider universe to just shut down? You know, you got Kraven the Hunter in August. If that's bad, this is Venom: The Last Dance. Do they just go, let's rethink this? I fucking hope so.
Yep.
Even though I feel like what they will do is live action Miles Morales films.
I think that's going to be the way they're going to go, yeah.
They'll do Beyond the Spider-Verse, and then it's live action Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Which would be cool. You know, if it's completely separated from the animated films, yeah, why not? And also, actually, just on the Oscars real quick. So, I just wanted to say, The Boy and the Heron getting the win, genuine surprise, I thought. I know, even though I think because the first one won, and they've got a chance to give the third one animated again, I kind of feel like maybe it was close, but it's Miyazaki. It could be his last one. Yeah. Great call, Mark, on Poor Things. Literally, for those who haven't listened to Oscarbation, after Poor Things wins its third, Mark says, I think it's winning Best Actress and that's it. That's exactly what happened. And Emma Stone was not an obvious pick. Like, I made money betting on Emma Stone.
Yeah, see, that's it. I thought she was just, that was it. She was going to win. I was quite convinced.
But it is mad that the last two Scorsese films have been nominated for a fuck ton of Oscars and have won 0 between them.
But what I always find amusing is Scorsese always looks like he's just having a really good time there.
I mean, Scorsese is. De Niro looked like he wanted to kill people every time it cut to him.
Fucking fuming, didn't he? He just looked so angry.
It is a little bit, mate, why are you there then? Like, you know you're not going to win. I mean, I suppose maybe, like, supporting the film. But if you're going to turn up, support the film, and then just look like that, just fucking stay in New York, mate.
Yeah. I reckon he was literally there because Scorsese said to him, "Are you coming to the Oscars?" And he's like, "No." It's like, "You're nominated, Bobby. Will you please come?" It's like, "No." And he's gone, "We're off to a really good party afterwards." Fuck it, go on then. I reckon he was literally there for the party afterwards.
You don't really strike
I
me as
am a
party
touch
guy.
worried.
He loves a party.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he does. He loves a party.
Looks too fucking miserable.
But he just saves all his energy. Like, he was just he was like Godzilla feeding off the radiation for like 3 hours, and then he could do like the De Niro version of Atomic Breath at a party.
Yep. Fucking just lit that fucking stage up.
Yeah, absolutely. That's put me off. But no, I am worried that we're not gonna get a chance to see Scorsese win another Oscar.
I think the weird thing is, I think what's kind of happened is it's kind of just become accepted now that he makes fabulous movies. So it's almost like a little bit when they come out and they're brilliant 5-star movies. Like it's just everyone goes, "Oh, well, obviously," and so it's an oddity.
I just wonder if there's a bit of a changing of the guard happening. You've got an Oscar, you've got an Academy that's now getting younger and getting more diverse, and I think there is the respect for Scorsese, but you know, I think there's going to come a time soon where people start trying to cancel some of his work. I won't talk about it today. I'll talk about it next week. But I'm about halfway through Reservoir Dogs. And holy fucking shit, when Tarantino's next one comes out, I fear for the TikTok content when you've got younger people watching Reservoir Dogs and some of the language in that film. And but like I say, I think there's kind of like a changing of the guard. Like Christopher Nolan is now kind of like the established king. And Villeneuve's like there as well, but then you do have the likes of Greta Gerwig, and if the follow-up to Past Lives hits, then like Greta Lee, I think could get up. Not Greta Lee, sorry, she's the actress in it. Celine Song, my apologies. But yeah, I feel like there's gonna be, and I'm here for it, to be clear, like a diverse lineup, but it's just. I think it's going to be odd if the one directing Oscar Scorsese wins is for The Departed. That's going to just sit a bit weird.
It's going to be like that. I think...
Killers of the Flower Moon wasn't the best directed movie out of the nominees, though. Like, it should have been. No.
No. I know. It's just the fact that he didn't win anything. Sorry?
Can't sympathy give him an Oscar just because he's old and he won the last one.
No. I'm not... I get why you think I'm saying that, but it's the take everything I was just saying. The separate statement of I think it's weird that it could be that his one directing Oscar is for The Departed. I think is a valid comment.
Yeah, because it's probably not in his top 5 movies. But the weird thing is, again, another one that I think is a little bit like it is very much Scorsese gets judged differently than other people. It's not in Scorsese's best 5 movies, but it would be in most of the directors' best 3 movies. And that's the oddity of it.
Yeah. No, totally. But yeah, I thought from the speeches and whatnot I've seen of the Oscars as well, I thought it was a good show. And I mean, I'm just
really
Ken.
snappy.
Yeah, it was. I'm surprised you guys didn't mention the Catalina wine mixer during the In Memoriam. But never mind.
To be honest, the In Memoriam bit was weird.
Yeah, you said it was very busy.
It was busy, and it was a bit like, hang on a minute, this is In Memoriam, and you've turned it into a dance number.
Yeah.
It felt, and I think I said on the show, the best In Memoriam I've ever seen is when they just got Dave Grohl to sit at the side of the stage with an acoustic guitar and play a song. And that was like, that made sense. That was good.
That's what you need. 3 minutes of, look, we're just going to sit here. If you want to take a pee break or something like that, if that's like your vibe, fine. But for the people who care, here's 3 minutes where it's going to be faces and names.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a whole thing, like it kept changing screens, didn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And then there was just the utter fucking disrespect of the last few people, just like a list.
Yeah, just to be on a list.
Yeah.
Or word cloud.
Poor.
The last thing I'll say as well, I was loving how enraptured you were by Ben Bailey Smith's passive aggressiveness in the ITV studio.
That was beautiful.
He was so fucking... He genuinely, if you'd seen it, Ian, he looked like he wanted to walk off, didn't he?
Yeah.
And behind him, there was just... Every time it went back to him, there was more wine glasses behind him, wasn't there? And you could tell, like, every time... Was it Faye Ripley? Every time she was talking, he was just looking at her with this face of, will you shut the fuck up?
Like, for context, he often subbed in for Simon Mayo for Kermode and Mayo.
Was he any good?
Yeah, he was alright.
Yeah, because the one thing I did not like about him is the fact that he had a big old argument with him about saying that comedy should be should be more recognised, and was basically saying, Poor Things is a comedy. And one of them kept saying, well, no, it's like this real dramatic looking, like, no, it's a fucking comedy.
Yeah, that's fucking batshit take.
And he was saying, no, it's this deep introspective look about what it is to be a woman, and I know about that. And he's like, yeah, but it's a comedy though, isn't it? It's a comedy. It's a black comedy, but it's a comedy.
Yeah, no, quite. I got the sense from what you guys were saying that he seemed to be like the one, along with Jonathan Ross, who actually maybe watched the films.
Yeah, Jonathan Ross. Right, this is the thing. They fucked it up. They absolutely fucked it up. Jonathan Ross would be a good host for that bit of the Oscars. But what it should be, I don't even mind the format of it like that. But what it literally should be is have Jonathan Ross have like 3 guests there, and just have a critic, have an actor, and have a filmmaker or something like that. You could have got better people than they got. Not a Radio 1 DJ.
A has-been actress.
An actress who just kept on talking about the craft of it all. It's like you were in cold fucking feet, dickhead.
Yeah, Faye Ripley is a fucking mad choice.
Honestly, it was like ITV just went, who have we got under contract?
Ian, did we have a whole conversation about Jonathan Ross borrowing Nicolas Cage's hair?
Yes, you did. Yeah, that was good. That was good as well.
Didn't imagine
Yeah,
that
Like Nicolas Cage saying, like, you can have this one, and Jonathan Ross is like, nah, you're all right, I'll take that one over there, that'll be fine. No, it was good.
Shit one, yeah.
Yeah. No, it was good. Yeah, but honestly, listeners, I know I keep on saying it, but there's some fucking gold in that. There was one moment where I was on a dog walk, someone walked past me, and I fucking pissed myself at something. And, like, I got a look, I'll say. But yeah, it's absolute gold. Yeah, cool. Saying what I said about Scorsese, I'm glad Christopher Nolan has a directing Oscar, and I really, really want him to have fun with his next film.
I mean, there's a big rumour doing the rounds, isn't there?
What?
There's a big old rumour that he's going to do a film remake / film version of The Prisoner.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Because he tried to do it after Insomnia, and that's what he wanted to do, but just couldn't get the budget for it. And so his idea that he'd sort of spoken about was that he'd do this big comic book movie, and then he'd end up getting this, and that would be his big passion project, would be to do The Prisoner. And that'd be very interesting.
That's great.
Fair.
That's great. That's a zag when people think he's going to zig.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool. I hadn't heard that. That's exciting. I feel like we'll hear something about his next film soon.
Yeah, because literally, I mean, the bonkers thing is that I don't think people appreciate, or people aren't mentioning with Oppenheimer, is it. I mean, it's getting re-released, I think, next week. Post Oscars, and it's getting an IMAX. IMAX are doing a big push. They're re-releasing like other bits. No. They're trying to basically go right. IMAX basically want to push IMAX a lot more in the next 2 years, and so they want it to be. They don't want it to be the only thing that is available to watch is this month's IMAX film. So that could push it above the $1 billion mark. It was a $100 million movie. It wasn't a $300 million movie. It was a $100 million movie. And also you can say exactly the same thing about Barbie. Barbie wasn't a $250 million movie. I think it was a little bit higher budget than Oppenheimer, but it was a mite over $100 million, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the IMAX is becoming a more and more important part, and the premium large format in general is becoming more and more like a part because of the whole big experience kind of thing. And I've seen people get a bit sniffy. A bit like A24 announced that they're going to do a run of their films in IMAX.
Yes, I did see that.
Ex Machina's like one of them, and people are going like
Hereditary, and there's something else, isn't there?
Hereditary in IMAX.
Yeah, Hereditary's getting one of them in IMAX. Yeah.
But people are getting sniffy about it. About like, well, what do you mean it's getting an IMAX re-release? Like, it's not going to be in IMAX. So, it's not that. And it's actually like on the elliptical. Occasionally, I watch a film, but sometimes I just go down YouTube holes. And I watched this really interesting. It was either like Business Insider or CNBC talking about IMAX films and how every single IMAX, it's like obviously you got like the specific, like very specific seating arrangements they have, but every single one, the calibration of like the picture and whatnot is done in one central location.
Yeah,
like the cinemas themselves don't actually control the picture and sound calibration. They do it at IMAX, so you've got this level of quality control that does not exist in most cinemas. I'm not going to say all cinemas, because there are still cinemas that have like on-site projectionists and whatnot, but most don't. The reason why I left my role at View was because we were getting replaced by a manager who'd press a button. So, there's that quality control, but also they remaster the sound in IMAX to take into account like the speaker configurations. They do some processes with the picture. It's not just it fills up the whole frame. A lot of films that play IMAX, even like films coming out now, don't take up the whole frame.
No.
You know, like so I mean, it was interesting. I watched The Creator in IMAX because that thing is so fucking widescreen. There were really chunky black bars at the top and bottom, but you're paying for that big picture, even in a IMAX. You're paying for the big picture and that big sound. And I'm almost like, okay, cool. And if all the QC is being done by people at IMAX who are being specifically paid to make sure this shit is good, yeah, cool. All right, fine. I'll pay the extra on top of my Limitless.
Well, that's it. I think like some of the best things that I think I've seen in IMAX were, I thought both Oppenheimer and Tenet were fantastic in IMAX. Interstellar, when I saw that, was fantastic in IMAX. And I'm just saying Nolan there, but Nolan is a big adopter of IMAX. But you loved Dune in IMAX. But one that was magnificent in IMAX was Akira. And that's because it was reformatted for IMAX.
It's the scale. It's like there's nothing else. There's no room for anything else in your eyes.
But
so
I think
it's immersive more.
As well with the Akira one, it was the sound. It was just like it was practically pinning you back, and that is a very sound heavy end of that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. Sorry, I was trying to find the thing I watched, but I can't. That's exactly it. So I've got my Odeon Limitless, but I will pay that £5 upcharge to watch a film like most of the time because I really, really like that fucking screen. And it's like, even when it's in the full IMAX, fucking nerdy as fuck for a second, but even when it's in the full IMAX, there's like a handful of IMAX cinemas that do the actual 1.43 to 1 aspect ratio for IMAX. So even when you're seeing Oppenheimer in most IMAXs, you're still not seeing the truest IMAX presentation of it. But it's still just a great experience. And also now, because the IMAX cameras are digital, you are seeing more films shot in that full frame IMAX ratio. I think, and this is like relatively new, but the big, what they're doing at the moment as well is developing smaller cameras that take film and aren't as noisy. Because that's the thing, is, when Nolan's has been shooting his stuff, a lot of his stuff has to be dubbed over after. And that, hopefully, in a couple of years, that will stop as well. And, I saw, like, Hoyt van Hoytema in the acceptance speech talked about shooting in film, didn't he? And and Emma Thomas accepting the Best Picture, shouting out IMAX. I mean, absolute fucking solid gold. And IMAX. Sorry, the show's going to run long. We're going to have to motor. Sorry. One last piece of news: Paul Thomas Anderson's latest film has been announced for an August 2025 theatrical release, and it's getting an IMAX release.
Yep, and Paul Thomas Anderson has basically come out and said, for me, it's the most commercial thing I think I'll have made.
It's Warner Brothers, it's IMAX, it's got a $100 million budget, and it's coming out in the summer. August, but,
still,
which can be the dog days of summer, but also, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out in August.
Yep. I remember...
Gran Turismo came out in August. Sorry, Mark.
Remember, Paul Thomas Anderson has also said that he thinks his most commercial film to date is Inherent Vice.
Good as Inherent Vice.
I mean, he is wrong.
He is.
Bless him.
He is. But I love the fact that he thinks that is. And I genuinely think that he thinks it is.
bless him. Fine. Right. Trailers. Let's motor through, and I know this is all my fault. Sorry, but just I wanted to talk about the Oscars. I wasn't there. I'm going to be there next year. I promise. Sorry,
I am noticing. I have watched not a lot. I was like, well, there haven't been that many out, and I'm looking through, going, oh fucking hell, there has. I've just not watched most of them.
I'm going to start off by saying the new trailer for the first Omen is the absolute opposite of the first trailer. That film looks like it's going to be shit.
Yeah. There's still some interesting looking, like, visual shots. But it just looks... I'm looking at it, it just looks busy. It looks really busy.
See, the thing is, I can't get myself twisted about this one, because the Omen, I'm not a big Omen guy anyway.
Yeah.
It's not one of my faves, so it's not like I'm real heavily...
Not like you give a fuck.
Not really, no. So it just needs to be alright. Because I'm very forgiving of horror movies in general. We'll get onto that later in what we've been watching. Not all of them.
It comes out the 5th of April, I think, so we haven't actually got much longer on that one.
So it'll be like, what, 3 weeks? 2 weeks? 3 weeks? 3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Sing Sing, Coleman Domingo.
Oops, my video just
Indeed.
started,
Coleman Domingo kind of... people are already talking about Best Actor next year.
People really want Coleman Domingo to win an Academy Award, don't they?
I mean, I want Coleman Domingo
to win an Academy Award. But I just like it to be a film that actually is decent.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see on that one, eh? New trailer for Inside Out 2. Lottie is pumped. That film is going to be fucking huge. Not because Lottie's pumped. Like, it just... like,
Lottie's
even
just
though...
going on a fucking round fucking bout to see it.
Even though...
Limitless cards just going ping, 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 ping.
I say that, but she is a child emphatically set against movies because I tried too hard in her earlier years. I mean, like, I'll talk about in what we've been up to. One of my, like, weirdly maybe most proud shit, maybe I do have an influence on my daughter moments of recent memory. But yeah, Inside Out 2, the fact she is as pumped as she is for it. But it's like Donna is like really, really looking forward to it as well. And it I don't know, it kind of feels like it's gonna speak to people. Believe me, not a lot of films speak to my house. So maybe I'm using my house a bit too much as a representative example. I am convinced that film's going to be huge.
I think it's going to be Pixar's biggest hit for a while.
Definitely post-COVID. Holy shit.
Yeah, people seem to actually give a shit.
Mm-hmm. Atlas. This is Netflix's Memorial Day blockbuster starring J-Lo.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep. That's it. That's what I was like when I watched the trailer to it. It was like, I'm watching this, but none of it is actually processing in my brain as any of it is real.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I envision watching this movie, and then if we cover it on the podcast, watching it, and if we don't record within 17 minutes after I finish watching it, I will not remember any of it. You'll be going, so Atlas, and I'll go, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Does look a little bit fake trailery.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, thing just came up on my fucking phone. Oh, God, it's being set up for another United versus City final at the FA Cup. Jesus. Coventry City versus United, and then Manchester City versus Chelsea.
Yeah, it does sound like it's getting set up for that.
Fucking hell. Right, anyway, and yeah, sorry to you two for that game as well, by the way.
Out of the three we're still in, that's the one I'd most like. The two, sorry, three? Still in? That's the one I'd like to have gone out of the most.
Hey, look, you get that fucking Europa League, you get that Premier League, as far as I'm concerned. Because we can't. Ezra, Bobby Cannavale is the dad of an autistic son. Directed by Tony Goldwyn, who also stars in it. Rose Byrne, Bobby Cannavale's real-life wife, if memory serves, playing his ex in this. Looks like it's going to touch some heartstrings. Can't say I'm super pumped to go see it in the cinema, though.
No, not super pumped to go and see it in the cinema. Heavy kind of Tuesday night at home vibes to that.
Big old bowl of broccoli.
Yeah, but I wouldn't mind eating broccoli with Bobby Cannavale.
No.
Because he's weirdly, he's a guy when he does emotional bits within films, I'm a bit like, he nails it.
Oh, he's very good, yeah.
Yeah.
So, The Greatest Hits, a film that makes the music, takes you back to memories of the past and makes you kind of like feel things from the past, very literally, with a woman who finds that when she plays certain albums, she gets taken back to the moment, but time travel way of that moment, and she's trying to stop her ex from dying while in the present day, maybe having starting a relationship with someone in the present.
Is this a comedy or a drama?
I mean, it looks very drama.
See, that premise is fun if you're making a comedy. If you're making a drama, it just sounds just bleak.
Yeah.
It sounds
I don't know.
A little bit. The way you describe it there sounds a little bit like at some point I'm going to hear Snow Patrol.
Oh yeah, the chasing cars is going to pop up at some point.
And I don't like being in situations where I might hear Snow Patrol.
Fair. Okay, couple more, I think. Teaser trailer for Pool Man, Chris Pine's directorial debut that got absolutely slated coming out of Toronto.
I'm so looking forward to this movie.
Yeah, I think it looks really fun. Yeah. That teaser trailer was really good. Why not? I'm up for it.
Yep.
It's got some major Under the Silver Lake vibes to me.
Yes. Yep. I genuinely, I'm looking at Chris Pine and going, man, if I still had hair, that is how I would look.
Oh, what glorious!
I mean, not looking like what is it, but in terms of the hair and like the beard, I'd be like, yep, that is pretty much the vibe I would go for.
What, hobo?
Yes.
We've had this conversation, Mark. You're not allowed Big Beard back because
Big Beard's coming back, baby.
No, it's not. Not if you want to get laid again. It ain't.
Big Beard's coming back.
Evidently not then.
I feel like you just insulted your wife there, mate.
No, I'm making a stand.
You want to look older, slightly homeless, and not have sex. That's what you're going to do. That's your stand.
I never said it was a good stand.
No, it's a shit stand. This is a contentious issue, Ian, if you can't tell. Welcome to our argument.
God, us men are fucking idiots, aren't we? We just all are. My God. Right, okay. There's one more to talk about on my end. Have you guys got any others?
I think it's just the one that we've all got left.
Okay, so the remake of The Crow, or reimagining, or whatever they're going to do. So it's Rupert Sanders, director of Ghost in the Shell remake and Snow White and the Huntsman.
Real hands there then, yeah.
Ghost in the Shell's a fucking good-looking movie.
Snow White and the Huntsman isn't though.
Fair, but Ghost in the Shell is a good-looking movie.
He's too interested in fucking Kristen Stewart to worry about the content of that film, to be fair. So, and I mean, yeah, and I kind of feel like not long after that, she started kind of being interested in women and whatnot.
Yeah,
so
literally, Rupert Sanders literally, you know, there's a possibility fucked Kristen Stewart gay.
think she was probably already.
I know, I'm being facetious.
I know.
No, I'm sure. Like she was already bi-curious and whatnot, you know. But like, good on Kristen Stewart. Like, you know, really looking forward to Love Lies Bleeding, and I genuinely mean that.
She's been making some solid sartorial choices while she's been doing like Love Lies Bleeding promo work.
Yes,
It's been fun.
Yeah.
I heard her basically I heard her in Love Lies Bleeding described the other day as her basically playing a lesbian superhero, and it's just a bit like, yeah, fine, all right, cool, that's absolutely a-okay. But The Crow, I will say I am quite looking forward to this. This looks like a film lost from the 90s, directed by someone who has only seen the original Crow and Blade.
So basically, you're saying it's like the lost Alexander Proyas movie.
Yeah,
which is literally like if he made The Crow, but if he'd made The Crow 6 years later,
it's going to be really, really bad.
Yeah,
but I think there's going to be choices.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's going to be boring.
No, I don't think it's going to be boring. I think it looks crap.
It looks ugly as well, which I think is criminal.
It does.
It does, but I am looking at going, I bet there's some interesting fucking shots in there.
Yeah.
I think that film is going to be more interesting looking visually than we are going to give it credit for now. I still think it's going to be crap, but I think visually.
So ready to give this movie a chance. I don't know why they've tatted him up like he's the fucking Joker, Jared Leto's Joker.
I think because because you've got to. It's essentially he's supposed to be a low level musician, a jobbing musician, and of this time that is kind of how they look.
What, tattoos all over their face and stuff?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll watch it. And the original will still exist, so I'm not going to get upset about it, but it just...
I want to see another trailer, and I don't often say this, just to sort of see... Because that felt quite generic.
I kind of wish they got a proper actress in as well to play Shelley.
Oh, that's an FK Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone with a bit of, like, on-screen charisma and presence, rather than just being a pretty girl. Sure.
Yeah.
I do quite like the fact that Danny Houston's the baddie. I love Danny Houston.
Danny Houston has a great baddie face as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, that's the one like real heavy positive in this film's favour so far.
Yeah. Danny Houston has a face that looks like he's up to something.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to be a grown up about it and give this film like a really like fair chance. But this trailer is not filling me with any confidence.
That's the thing. We're just coming at it from different perspectives. I'm just like, this looks like shit. I'm here for it.
Fair.
The run time will worry me.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah, it's got to come in at 104 minutes. If it's 88 minutes, it's like that is a piece of shit and they know it. if it's 134 minutes, that's a piece of shit and they don't know it.
I get the feeling Rupert Sanders is not a director who probably gets director's cut. So we'll see what happens there. It also feels like this has been kind of on the boil for ages.
I think this has been on the boil for getting on for 2 decades now.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, this was going to be... this was going to star Gerard Butler at one point.
What we got here? Bradley Cooper, Mark Wahlberg, Channing Tatum, Robert Pattinson, James McAvoy, Tom Hiddleston, Alexander Skarsgård and Sam Witwer were all considered to play Eric Draven before Bill Skarsgård was confirmed for the role. And that's just on this iteration.
Yeah. Bonkers.
Jason Momoa.
Considered is interesting. Like, it's like they went, but we've decided to go in a different direction to Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Like,
and Momoa was attached to it for a long time, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Who was?
Jason Momoa.
Oh, that would have... You see, that could have been fun.
Yeah. I mean,
Too busy being Aquaman.
Do you think people are going to go back and watch all... should we do a Crow retrospective and go through all of them?
No. I don't. How many are there?
There's the Crow City of Angels, the Crow Salvation, and the Crow Wicked Prayer. So Eric Draven is played by... Well, actually, it's not Eric Draven. It's a different person by Vincent Perez in the second one.
City of Angels?
No. Yes, City of Angels, yes.
Yeah. I've seen the first two.
It's another guy, but Kirsten Dunst is in the third.
Okay, yeah.
And then it is Eddie Furlong in the fourth.
I mean, I would watch all of those movies quite happily with you.
And also has Tara Reid.
good.
That one is so bad, The Crow Wicked Prayer. It's impossibly bad.
Should we do it?
Oh, we're obviously going to watch it. Yeah, of course we are.
Just going to do me a little bit of a Google image search.
For Eddie Furlong?
No, Kirsten Dunst in The Crow.
Just to see if you want to watch it.
Yep.
I mean, that's one where William Atherton, I think, plays the bad guy.
Sorry, I've just seen a Google image search of the poster, and the quote on it is "the best of the Crow sequels." That's a real. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like if we were still doing the Patreon, that's something where I go, yeah, all right then. But you guys crack on.
Oh, we will. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I'm already ahead of you, though.
What?
Well, because I watched the first one.
I mean, I've seen The Crow a few times, babe.
Oh, are you going to skip that one?
No, I'll watch The Crow again, but it's not like I need to.
Oh, okay.
4K disc is coming out.
Yeah, and that's the one. The 4K presentation is the presentation we saw at cinema last year, isn't it? It was the first time it was ever screened anywhere.
Okay.
Which they didn't know at the time. That was kind of by accident. They only found out about it that day that they were told,
yeah.
"Oh, by the way, this is the 4K premiere."
Yeah.
Because they'd found out there's a 4K. So the screening we went to, they'd found out it was pre-organised. They'd found out there was a 4K coming out of it. Got in touch with the company and said, "Look, we know you've got this 4K coming out. We want to. We have the capability to show it in 4K. Is there any chance of that?" Thinking they'd just ignore them and just sort of say no. And they got back in touch and went, "Yeah, we'll sort that all out for you." And then on the day, apparently said, "Oh yeah, by the way, did you know that this is like the first time it'll ever be screened to the public?" So that was a bit weird.
That's cool.
And it's got like a fully remastered and re-recorded score to it because the mix on it was shit originally.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about Ricky Stanicky. It cannot be contained any longer.
No.
Directed by Peter Farrelly and starring John Cena, Zac Efron, Andrew Santino, and
William H. Macy.
Yeah, William H. Macy, and I'm trying to find the name of the other friend as well, but this is in appearance order by the looks of it. Jermaine Fowler, that was it. So, Ricky Stanicky. What's this about then? This is about when three childhood best friends pull a prank that goes wrong, they invent the imaginary Ricky Stanicky to get them out of trouble. 20 years later, I'm seeing here they're all cunts, and they still use the. That's very, very
Jesus, IMDb.
Fruity IMDb. They still use the non-existent Ricky as a handy alibi for their immature behaviour. Now, I would also just like to read the first bit of the trivia section from IMDb. The movie was first announced in 2010 with James Franco as Ricky Stanicky. As a result of scheduling conflicts, Franco dropped and the role went to Joaquin Phoenix. The shooting kept getting delayed, and in 2013, Phoenix dropped off the movie and the role went to Jim Carrey. Carrey waited for a full year for the production to start, then he dropped off and the role went to Nicolas Cage in 2015. Cage bought the role as an opportunity to remind viewers of his comedy, but at that time international financiers asked for action elements to be added and as it will be sold as a Nicolas Cage movie. Their request was denied, and the project stopped until 2021 when Zac Efron and Amazon were interested in the script. Finally, John Cena was cast as Ricky Stanicky.
That film's been on a journey I didn't know about.
Right. This is a film called Ricky Stanicky about 3 dickhead friends who create a character called Ricky Stanicky to get them out of life obligations. I liked this film more than I am letting on right now, but fucking filmmaking's weird. Like,
Bananas,
this film is a cockroach. Right, Bex, Ricky Stanicky.
Yeah.
I didn't sorry, that wasn't the question. Did you like Ricky Stanicky?
Yeah, do you know what? More than I anticipated. It's actually quite funny. I really hated the ginger friend.
No one likes that guy.
And I really hoped his uppance would come by the end of the movie. And it doesn't really. Like, he deserves to be just vilified and kicked out of his life. But I feel like the Zac Efron character seems to... I don't know, he has his ups and downs because he seems to struggle a little bit with the morals of it, but then when it actually comes down to it, like, leans really heavily into it. So he's a bit of a dick as well. And then their other friend, I can't remember what he's called, and Mark's gone off the IMDb page because he's looking at something else. Wes, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually seems to just want to come clean about it all and be, like, a good guy. So he's all right. I'll let him off.
But he is the one who actually keeps using Ricky Stanicky outside of the group more often, though.
Yeah, but I feel like for real ambiguous stuff, like not missing his kid's birth.
I mean, the birth missing's an accident.
The baby shower wasn't, though.
The baby
was
shower wasn't. Baby
like,
shower's a bullshit.
He's
though.
just doing it because he wants to go get some weed milk. You know, it's not harmful. And Zac Efron, obviously, he struggles with it once he realises that his girlfriend's going to get affected potentially by it with her job and stuff like that. Whereas the ginger cunt just seems to be like, no, this is a life choice. I want to keep this going forever and ever so that I can just desert my wife at pivotal moments.
But also I want to be naked with my shirt off so I can have, like, skin-to-skin contact with my child, and I apparently... Like, that shit seemed like, oh my god, he's a cunt, we need to do something here. Have him be obsessed with skin-to-skin contact with his child.
Yeah.
That's icky, though. Like, and it's not a thing, really. The skin-to-skin onto mothers is so that the baby can still hear the heartbeat that they've been listening to for 9 months.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's not the height of screenwriting, despite the fact that the film's taken over a decade to reach us.
So yeah, apart from the fact that there's various moral questionability with the friends, it is actually a pretty funny film. It's not a classic for the ages. I feel like I wouldn't have spent 14 years trying to get this off the ground. But John Cena is really funny in it. And the ending of it's just the way that he's pulled all that together is great.
Do you mean John Cena, comedic genius?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think there's an awful lot to say about it because there's not an awful lot to it.
Agreed. I feel like Mark might want to say things about it, so I'm just gonna say John Cena Innocent basically makes the film watchable. I hope Zac Efron stops doing things like this. Even though I get it's not necessarily his choice. He's an actor. He needs to work for a living. It's a very, very 3 out of 5 film that without Cena could have been a 1. Mark?
Yeah, and I think I definitely agree with that. I'm fairly certain they filmed it just after Zac Efron had finished doing Iron Claw. And he's commented on saying that he was very like emotionally drained at this point. And I think there was something where he said that they were still doing like pickups for Iron Claw whilst they were shooting Ricky Stanicky.
He looks completely different in it though.
Yeah.
But he was saying that
it's like a normal human size.
Yeah. But he was saying that he was having to wear like suits that were a specific like cut because he was just big. So he was just really big. He said, and there's like he was saying, that there's bits that are shot like months before, months that were shot like months before I did my bits. So it was quite a. It took a while for them to shoot it because they had to basically fit Zac Efron in to it. I mean, yeah, without John Cena, the film it's comedic heart and the actual heart of the film.
Sorry, I was going to say he's the actual heart. Sorry, yeah, you're right.
It's weirdly, it's way too complicated a story as well at points for what it actually is. You've got to admire them having like a book that details everything, so that they've got a Bible there so they can cross-reference everything.
Yeah.
That fair enough. That's some thought out shit that's there. But yeah, it's not very good. And every time you're about to go, oh god, this is an absolute fucking piece of shit, John Cena will come out with something like saying that William H. Macy is Phantom jerking dicks.
God, that was brilliant, that bit. And the compilation at the end.
But it's when there's the weird thing is there's clever little bits like the moment that it's paused at on the back screen there.
Yeah. You didn't notice that at first.
I didn't notice it at first, and you were like, "Look at the screen that's paused." But it's like that. But it's Cena's delivery of deadpan comedy is just fucking great. But even the bit like when Zac Efron's character goes after him after the Ginge one, he's just a complete fucking dick to him.
Yeah.
And he runs after him, and he just protects his
calamari.
calamari.
That was good.
That's my calamari.
It's the way he kind of like really kind of like covers the plate as well.
It's just, but even then, I think there's clearly something that was more in the script at points that never ended up in this. What is it? Because he constantly he doesn't like confrontation at all, and it's kind of thrown away when he's having a conversation with Wes of saying, what the shit, dude? You this big guy, what's going on? He's like, well, I'm addicted to steroids. I never work out. I'm just addicted to steroids.
Yeah, the whole kind of like, you're an alcoholic, but you look like that. How? Steroids.
Yeah. And it's amusing because John Cena as himself is a very anti-steroid guy.
I do enjoy the fact that when the bad guys eventually catch up to him, it's just like Billy Idol's guys with cease and desist. That was great.
Is Billy Joel in it, or is it
Billy Idol? Billy Idol.
Yeah, and it's like Billy Idol's seen my work.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that because there was no. It takes all the peril out of it. Like it's just he's running away from phantoms. I love that. It's not the worst film I watched this week.
The thing is, I think, there's not that much to say about it because there's really not that much to it. It's a lot more fun than I expected it to be.
It's a very Sunday daytime watch.
But yeah, we watched a Monday daytime, I think we watched, didn't we?
But it is a very Sunday daytime.
But it's a very Sunday daytime watch. I'm going to say it's a Geostorm for me. In fact, I do think it's shit,
that, actually.
But I enjoyed it enough and I probably will watch it again at some point.
Yeah.
Mild, definitely not shit because of Cena.
That's fair enough because
mild.
I'm only saying Geostorm because I think I enjoyed it more than A Mile Different Shit, but I do think it's shit. I think if you could have made a better film even with the same cast, but if you just cast somebody else other than that fucking what is his name? Andrew Santino.
The ginger cunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't like it.
I think we need to start using ginger as like a pejorative.
No, it's a descriptor and then a pejorative.
But yeah, because he's not. There's nothing to that guy other than just I don't like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no redeeming.
Bex, just to back up Mark's point there, I think there are other descriptors followed by cunt that you could use that would really get you into trouble. And I think there's an argument to say that ginger cunt maybe should as in some respects as well, So I get what Mark was going for there.
Okay, sorry.
But yeah, he's not pleasant. Anytime I've seen him in, he's always played that same guy.
Yeah, he's a dickhead. He shouldn't be in films unless he's playing a dickhead. To be fair, he was playing a dickhead in this.
Yeah, but he was too much.
I don't think you were supposed to think he was. Yeah. They really were cunts, though. Like, honestly, if it wasn't for Cena, this would be, like, early contender for worst of the year.
Yeah, but Cena saves it.
Yeah, he does.
Because he's John Cena, comedic genius.
Yes.
Mate, where are you with it, Bex?
Same as you, I'd say.
Geostorm?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little bit surprised by this, Paul. So, definitely not shit 20%. Touching cloth 40%. Shit 20%. And Geostorm 20%.
Yeah.
That surprised me. I thought that the shit would have been a lot more on that. I thought the shit would have rained down on that one.
It feels like it's been met with, it is shit, but I've got to be honest, I laughed a few times. That seems to be the consensus. So, I think the kind of like the touching cloth, the Geostorm, yeah, I could see it just being all over the place.
Yes.
Hey Hannah, I think you really can't beat a good rewatch of a TV show. Would you agree with that, love?
Oh, yes, I would.
Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I think during, global pandemics, storms, all of these things, it's quite nice to just sit down and burn through something that you've seen a million times.
Absolutely, nothing like a binge watch.
Star Trek.
Babylon 5.
Because you could sit there for hours looking at serial killer documentaries.
Absolutely, that doesn't
Netflix.
make you a weird person at all.
It doesn't. Yeah, you could watch documentaries that all seem to be about women killing men.
Love you, darling.
You could put off watching Daredevil for the 30th time.
Harry Potter.
But really, you can't beat immersing yourself in the warm jumper of a rewatch of a show or a franchise.
Beloved franchise.
Lord of the Rings.
Twin Peaks. From VHS compilations recorded off television with the ad breaks, cut out of course, to DVD box sets of Sex and the City and, I don't know, Smallville.
Farscape.
Quantum Leap. To giving up finding new content on Netflix and just having a comfort trawl through Star Trek The Next Generation or Parks and Recreation. I think that we can all agree.
There's a lot to be said for that.
You can't beat a good rewatch. So, with that in mind, join
Hannah
and Mike from Chinstroker vs. Punter as we burn through some of our favourite franchises and share our immediate reactions to each instalment in both spoiler and non-spoiler sections. To do that, do a search for the Rewatch Project with Hannah and Mike on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whichever your favourite podcast provider may be, or go directly to anchor.fm/rewatch project. We are proud members of the Pod Syndicate family of podcasts.
What have you been watching, Bex?
Me?
Yeah.
Weirded me out. I was expecting to say that. Sorry.
That's why I did that. I thought it'll freak you out.
Yeah, no, it did. It did a good job.
I've watched a few on my own. So I rewatched Bad Times at the El Royale. It is genuinely like two different films mashed together. It
Yeah.
is an oddity. I think it overall works.
I agree. I didn't watch it this time around, but I do agree that it overall worked. But I remember it's one of those films where it's too long. It's way too long. It is in excess of 2 hours. It's too long, but it almost benefits from being too long.
Yeah, because if they brought Chris Hemsworth's character, because that's the turning point.
Yeah,
that's where it's like a different film. If they brought him in and then the ending was quick, it would have felt weird.
Yeah,
but they give it enough time for him to sort of start feeling like he makes sense in the film.
It draws out and you go, Jesus Christ, this is going on far too long, and then it starts to get you back and you go, oh no, actually I'm enjoying this again now.
Is it because Chris Hemsworth does that dance with his shirt off?
It's not because of that.
Doesn't hurt, does it? It's an awkward dance though. But you know, that's not what you're focusing on in the moment.
No, it doesn't crack the top 5. He doesn't crack the top 5.
No, he doesn't.
No.
But yeah, I really fucking like Bad Times at the El Royale. I do. Part of me wishes that it finished the movie that it starts and just did that, rather than having the cult leader arrives and everything goes berserk kind of element. Because it's really interesting with like the characters that are there already. But like I say, overall, I think it works. I didn't realise that the younger sister in that is the Priscilla girl, Kaylee Spenny, is it?
Yeah.
Didn't realise that until I rewatched it. I was like, I recognise her face. Because I've not watched it in a while. I went to the cinema to see Imaginary.
Oh, how'd that go?
Shit, mate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like properly.
And you're
shit.
incredibly forgiving of that kind of horror.
Okay.
Don't waste your fucking time on it. It's horrible. It's horribly.
I've heard it's very PG-13.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's just crap.
Wow.
The acting's crap. The fact that it wants to be somewhere between Insidious and Labyrinth is crap. It looks bad. The story's bad. I'm trying to think if there is a single redeeming quality. No.
Nope.
No. I genuinely... I went to see it because you were on late, weren't you? And I had some time to kill. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone and seen it anyway. But I think I'd rather have stayed at work for 3 hours and watched something on my phone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, really, really, really poor. It really does worry me, actually, the recent output from Blumhouse. They've gone from being like the saviours to being just another generic shit pumping studio. Yeah,
to churning a little bit.
Yeah.
It's interesting because they've got a first look deal with Universal, so I'm always very when a non-Universal studio has a Blumhouse film. So the fact that Lionsgate had this, I was already, maybe I'm not going to be expecting too much out of this.
There's one sort of good bit that makes you go, okay, that's quite clever. So the bear that's in the trailers and the pictures and stuff like that is the physical manifestation of the imaginary friend that the little girl has. God, she's a fucking shit actress. Sorry, that just reminded me. She's pathetically bad. Like, there's good child actors out there. She is not one of them. Anyway, the bear. And she can see the bear. Obviously, she's interacting with the bear. The stepmother, she's the bear's there. The kid goes into like a therapy session with her therapist and asks if she can get... The bear's called fucking Chauncey, by the way. Asks if you can get Chauncey in the room out of the hall. So she goes and gets Chauncey, carries the bear in, sits it on the sofa, blah, 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 blah. And then the therapy session goes a bit like bonkers. She like loses her shit. And then, so the stepmom's like, oh, what should I do about the bear? Should I like take the bear off her, or? And the therapist's like, what bear? And she's like, the bear, Chauncey, the fucking bear, the imaginary friend. And she's like, there's no bear, mate. She's like, yeah, there is. It's a fucking bear. And so she watches the video back with her, and there's no bear. That's like the one interesting thing it does, is that like the bear's not there.
The bear is not there.
The bear is not there. The bear is not there would be a better story.
Yeah, the bear is not there. The one of the unsung Dr. Seuss books.
The bear who wasn't there. Yeah, absolute utter piece of shit. I rewatched The Crow as a palate cleanser after watching the trailer for the new one, and just because it like made me go, do you know what? I've not watched The Crow in a while. And Isabel was back for one night, and we were watching.
We literally watched it at the cinema in like November or something like that.
Yeah, that's ages ago. I watch it more regular than that. So I mean,
Don't have a pop at Becky for the stuff she watches, Mark.
yeah, fuck you. Oh, you're in for a fucking treat, Ian. You probably already know. He's probably mentioned it. Anyway.
Yes, in the boy chats, I think so. Strap it in, folks. Sorry.
So, yeah, rewatched The Crow. I've spoken about The Crow many times. It was nice watching it with Isabel. It's, yeah, I like that she's appreciative of stuff. And she was like, oh, yeah, so this is the same guy who made, like, that Dark City, isn't it? And I was like, oh, my God. Yeah, it is. I was really proud of her. But yeah, I'm not gonna bang on about that because yeah, watched it, talked about it before, and I've been listening to, on my little audiobook adventure, I've been listening to Who Censored Roger Rabbit. Wildly different than the film, but yeah, I'm digging it, and it's different enough than the film that I felt confident that I could watch the film without having finished the audiobook, so I did. I think Who Framed Roger Rabbit is one of those films that probably because like we grew up with it, really. We were like, what, 5, 6 when this came out. It's easy to take it for granted. It's a real kind of feat of filmmaking, this.
Oh yes.
And the interaction between the, like, you just don't even fucking question it. The interaction between the toons and the humans. There's nothing unnatural feeling about it at all. It's just, Eddie Valiant's supposed to be real buff in the book. And it's pop.
Well, I mean, are you saying he's not in the film? Sorry.
But yeah, I think it is weird to watch it after, like, it's a big long gap since I last watched this, and it is. I think it's a real shame that the Wile E. Coyote one's not coming out, because it was going to be similar sort of setup to this, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Toons and humans interacting. I think it's a real shame. I think they've missed a bit of a trick there, but it's just a real bonkers fucking story as well, isn't it?
I genuinely don't. I think it's hard to appreciate how bonkers it is.
Yeah. I always forget as well that it's what's her face as the voice of Jessica
Kathleen
Rabbit,
Turner,
isn't it?
yeah.
Kathleen Turner.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a real fucking treat to watch on a Sunday, to be fair. Really enjoyed my time with it.
Good.
So yeah, that's me. That's all I've done.
Oh, that you done?
Yeah.
So what did we watch? We only watched one together, actually, didn't we?
Yeah.
No, well, there were two because we got the Humphrey Notes.
Yeah.
We're gonna segue through that into Ian's. That's how we're gonna
Okay.
do that. Yes, we watched The Abyss, didn't we?
Mhm.
Yeah, the new 4K of that looks fantastic, doesn't it?
Yes.
Looks really, it does look really good. I mean, The Abyss. I don't think we watched the theatrical cut rather than the director's cut, didn't we? I do think the director's cut is a better version of it, the extended cut.
Yeah.
I think it is slightly better, but it is still, it's bonkers. Like, again, like you were just saying about Roger Rabbit, the filmmaking that is on display here is incredible. And it just, watching The Abyss, it does make me go, this is how good a filmmaker James Cameron is.
Or used to be.
Why do I have to watch CGI animated blue people flying around imaginary worlds.
The thing is, you could just not.
I know you could just not, and I know that I know you're a fan of that. But yeah, The Abyss is genuinely, I think, is his best film for me.
One thing I did think though, while we were watching this, and it might be because it's in 4K and you can pick up more.
What?
He's got a lot better between making this and making Titanic and making pools look like the sea. Because there is a bit where it's like, that's evidently just a fucking pool.
Yeah. A big fuck off pool.
Yeah, but still, like in Titanic, it's not. It's definitely not as obvious when a pool's a pool. When the sea's a pool. If that
Probably
makes sense.
not. No, but it is. I do very much enjoy it, and a great performance by Michael Biehn as just a mad bastard.
He's a twat, isn't he?
Yeah.
What a twat. His up and comes though.
He's a real bad egg. What else have I watched? Watched Queen Pins, the movie from a couple of years ago with Kristen Bell and Kirby Howell-Baptiste, I think she's called. They're about the two women, loosely based on a real story, very loosely. Two women who start to run a black market coupon empire. Yeah, it's not very good.
Doesn't sound it.
It's not very good. It's really boring.
Why did you watch this?
Because I genuinely thought it sounded good. It sounded interesting. But the movie does open with the police bust of Kristen Bell's house and her being in bed at the time and the bus going on and then a record scratch and a, yeah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got there. And you're actually going, I know what you're doing. And this is on purpose. You're doing this as a nod wink, but still, fuck off.
Yeah, but record scratch freeze frame probably wasn't like as cringe 3 years ago.
It probably was, and it's just it's not very. The whole film is kind of like that. It's got a real weird, like low energy to it. Okay. It all seems like it was. It all looks like it was shot in like a, you know, like when you see like these big, like gated communities that have been built in the US, but after the property crash in 2009, they're just left dilapidated.
Like McMansion Estate.
Yeah, it looks like it was filmed there.
Okay.
It's a real, it's just a real misfire from everyone involved. Rewatched The Trial of the Chicago 7. I'm building up to the good ones. Rewatched The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Just realised what you class as the good ones.
Trial of the Chicago 7 is a fucking great film. I remember enjoying it last time, but I remember being slightly put off by almost the stylised nature of it. I didn't get that on this watch. I didn't get the stylised nature of it. It didn't feel that. It just feels like a really well put together movie. That's actually, this time it was, you know, Aaron Sorkin, you know you're going to get a good script. You know you're going to have that snappy script that sits along. But it's the editing that kind of stood out to it at this time for me. The way it's pieced together is really good. And Sacha Baron Cohen, a performance who I often struggle with, is very, very good in it. And Eddie Redmayne, again, a guy who I struggle with quite often because of his weird face.
It looks like he's always about to cry.
Yeah, but he's, again, very, very good in it. It's just, you're watching it and it's making you annoyed, but it's also, you do just want to keep on watching it. It's a really, like, it grabs you in quite well. It makes you quite interested in the story. So yes, I very much enjoyed that. And then, now long-term listeners will know that every so often, every 5 or 6 years, I go on a little odyssey that I like to call ski-sploitation. And there are 3 key movies for this. They are Ski Patrol, and then there's Ski School and Ski School 2. So I watched them all. So Ski Patrol and Ski School were released around about sort of 13, 14 months outside of each other. Ski Patrol is... they all have very similar stories. But Ski Patrol has a young Paul Feig in it. Playing a guy called Stanley, who at one point during the film does a talent show where he is dressed as Tina Turner and is dancing as Tina Turner. Now, all of that sounds like you're going, hang on a minute, good guy, all-round good guy Paul Feig was in something that sounds that cancelable. It's not. He's not doing blackface. It's all very well intentioned, and he's a lot of fun in this movie. But the kind of gist of the movie is you've got the stuck-up squares versus the kind of cool fucking, guys who just want to party on the mountain that are there. And Ski School was kind of like, because Ski Patrol got a little bit of traction, Ski School came out of that and was very much like, right, we need to sort of capitalise on that.
Skiing's really hot right now.
Yeah, a little bit like that. But whereas Ski Patrol uses slapstick comedy as kind of its hook and its crutch and the thing that it constantly falls back on, what Ski School replaces slapstick comedy with is nudity. Yes. So there's a good amount of it. So Ski School, which is better than Ski Patrol, not just because of the nudity, but because of Dean Cameron. He plays Dave Marshak, who is... this one is different because it's pitting different ski schools against each other. The weird thing is, the character isn't actually called Dave Marshak in the film. He's called Dave Marshall. But after they'd shot it, the director decided that Dave Marshall sounded too straight-laced, so they wanted to give him a more edgy name, so changed it to Dave Marshak, and then just dubbed in Marshak over it. So whenever anyone refers to him as Dave Marshall, it goes, where's Dave Marshak? But the problem is, his name's written a lot in the movie, and they just don't fucking change it.
God.
Which is great, because it's written like a lot in the movie. Like, they're competing in a competition, and he's called Dave Marshall, and he keeps moving up the board saying Dave Marshall along it. But there's the thing about Ski School, and the reason why it got a sequel 3 years later, is Ski School didn't do... People were surprised. Ski School didn't do that well at the box office.
That's wild.
It took less than $20,000 at the box office. Right? Yeah. But it was a fucking behemoth of the video rental market. Right? Because stoners watched it, and boys under the age of 14 watched it because there was a lot of boobs in it. I mean, there is literally a moment in it where Dave Marshak says, when everything started to go wrong and everything's going downhill for the guys, and he says, what is going on here? Like, what's going on with our lives? It's 9:30 in the morning and a girl has just wandered by in her underwear. What is going on? Something is wrong here. And they all look at him, his friends all look at him and go, yeah, there is something wrong. He's like, yeah, last year, by 9:30, it was 2 naked girls walking by. Not one girl in her underwear. We have to change this. And they do, and there's more naked ladies around. But there's a great running gag that any time anybody at this school, Section 8, their ski school, anytime anybody walks on screen, a beer is thrown at them. And they always catch the beer. But the thing is, it's anybody who walks on screen at the ski school for them, even if they're not part of the ski school, just still has a beer thrown at them. But obviously they're not expecting a beer to be thrown at them. So a beer will just spring across the screen and just hit something out of nowhere. But it happens loads of times, and it just becomes a great running gag within the movie. And of course, at the end of it, you know, the guy gets the girl and the guy, you know, defeats the squares and everything like that. It's great, brilliant.
Fucking square.
Yeah. And then we fast forward sort of 3 years later and we get Ski School 2. Dean Cameron is the only guy who comes back. None of the rest of the cast come back. I'll speed round from this one a little bit more. None of the rest of the cast come back. It's not as good as Ski School.
Not as classy.
It's not as classy, no. It's got less of a budget. Well, it's got more of a budget, but I don't know where they spent it.
But the production value is just not there this time.
It's not, no. It genuinely really isn't. But, I mean, it was shot on video. But it was literally done because Ski School was getting rented so much that they were given some money to just have another title in there.
I'm listening, but I'm just going to get another Jack and Coke and think about my life.
But it's basically the same premise as it. But there is some good, like, throwback jokes. Like, the first time, like, Dave Marsh has been expelled from the ski school, but then he's making he's coming back because his ex-girlfriend is getting married to one of the new douchebag ski instructors. And when he comes back and he first walks into where the ski school is, he just holds his hands up. And, like, no beer gets thrown at him. And he looks around and then just kind of shrugs his shoulders and walks off. Then later in the movie, when things are starting to go right, he walks in the room and someone throws me a beer. And he just goes, "It's about time." And it just, like, nice little callbacks to the original movie that are in there. Yeah.
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 Do you think the teenage boys who purely rented it for masturbatory material would have picked up on that callback?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also got Wendy Hamilton playing a nude painter.
I don't know who Wendy Hamilton is.
She was a playmate. But she's not like the fun bit there is she don't paint nudes. No. She paints nude. Yeah.
So clever.
It's just fucking wordplay. Yeah.
Mark, where did you watch these?
What?
Where did you watch these?
In a car.
Okay. I really, really hoped you were going to say in the canteen.
I did actually watch the first half of the second half of Ski School 2 in the canteen at work. Yeah, I had to very much edge my iPad so that, like, literally there was no chance anyone else could see it. Yeah. Fuck it. I don't care. I enjoy my rewatch of these movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
You're a weird guy.
Ski School is the best of the three of them.
Of course, yeah.
Without question. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's good. Mm-hmm. Do you know in Heathers, you know the two football players that they kill?
Yeah.
You know the weird looking one that's head looks really bulbous? That looks like he's just far too many circles.
Yeah.
Right, he plays a hot guy in Ski School.
Oh, wow.
It's weird. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Good times. Segueing nicely, what else did we watch together? We watched The Hunt for Red October, didn't we?
We did.
What did you watch, Ian?
I also watched The Hunt for Red October. Forgive me, I'm just texting my sister something. I'll just be a second.
Is
Apologies.
it about Ski School?
No.
Are you recommending the classic movie Ski School to your sister?
Are you saying, Mark just thought that it's really fucking great film, I think you'd really dig. It's called Ski School.
No, sorry. I'm ever so sorry because I know we're recording. I just need 10 seconds to concentrate.
And me talking about you recommending Ski School to your sister's not helping.
No.
It's a good film. In Ski Patrol, there's a guy, right, who has 3 personalities. Right? He's a schizophrenic, has 3 personalities. One of them, and the personalities are manifested by, he basically has one mask on one side of his face, his own face, and then another mask on the other side of his face. And all 3 of them interact at different points.
Wow.
Yep.
How avant-garde.
It's quite ahead of its time. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still not as good as Ski School, though.
No.
We could watch it.
I'm alright.
I think we should watch it.
I'd rather not.
It's good.
I'm not going to watch it.
It's really good.
I don't get as much amusement out of tits and ass as you do.
There's skiing in it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the 100. There's skiing in it as well, Bex. I mean, come on.
I'm being unreasonable, really, aren't I?
I don't mean you. I mean, you are. You're not very supportive.
I'm not getting in the spirit of it.
No, yeah, absolutely. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm actually having quite a serious conversation with my sister about something at the same time that you're talking about ski school, which is really, really not. It's a relief, genuine relief. But yeah, okay, there we are. So apologies. The Hunt for Red October. Directed by John McTiernan, maybe obviously. So I watched this because Blank Check are doing John McTiernan at the moment. They come out with episodes on Sunday, so I've spent 2 hours of my day listening to them talk about Medicine Man today, which is something. But yeah, The Hunt for Red October. So I mean, I don't know whether this is like a full review or like an extended what we've been up to kind of a thing, but I find this film just one of my great comfort watches. There's real stakes, but also because it's Sean Connery being honourable and Alec Baldwin playing a Jack Ryan who knows his shit but also kind of like tries his luck, and he's not like fully formed. Spoiler alert for what we've been up to. I watched all the Jack Ryan films, so we'll chart them, but this is a Ryan who is not fully formed but has his full kind of powers, and that's a compelling combination. But then you've got Connery as well, who...
The Irish-Russian man. Scottish-Russian guy,
but also honourable. And, like, you know, very intelligent and obviously dangerous, but also, you know, like, he's just kind of like a sweet old man at the end of it all as well. You know, like, the nuance and the depth of the characters, like even Courtney B. Vance, who plays that the guy who kind of like works out that this what they're hearing is actually like the caterpillar device or whatever it is they call. So I like Drive. That's it. I even like him, how he's just like really driven to do that thing, but not because like he wants to impress, but just it's like, I fucking know that's not what it seems to be, and I'm gonna work it out, damn it. And like he's
just a sound nerd.
Yeah. But he's got that little arc through the film, and it's great. And yeah, I you know, Sam Neill talking about how he just wants to live in Montana with a round woman who will cook him rabbits. There's just so much just memorable colour in this film that, you know, it would not be made today. Would not be made today. And also just the elegant translation from Russian to English. And this is a point I'm stealing from Blank Check, but they zoom in on the guy's mouth. He says Armageddon, which is the same in both Russian and English, and then it transitions to English.
Yeah, it's just a really interesting bit, and then there's a pull out that comes from there as well. It's just a really it's a thought process. There's a thought gone into it. It's not just, well, let's have them all do Russian accents but be speaking English. It's almost like look, here is them speaking Russian, but we need to make it more palatable for people to watch.
Yeah.
Terrific movie. Looks amazing. Basil Polidoris' score. Oh, let's go. And also very much helped by the fact that Russia may be a cunt, but that national anthem
It's a banger, innit?
maybe can't be beaten.
It's kind of that, and France are quite neck and neck, aren't they?
Oh, France is a good
It's
shout.
a good shout, innit? But yeah, the Russian one is good. You've got to give them credit for it. It's good. This comes from a country that's national anthem is shite.
Yeah, and it just reminded me, like they did the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix last weekend. Saudi Arabian anthem. I almost said theme tune, but you get it. Anthem. Fucking shit. Get Russian, like actors just with deep voices doing the Russian national anthem. Fucking hell.
What do you think to it, Lex?
Yeah, do you know what? It feels like a proper grown-up film, like the adult cinema, but not in the adult way.
Yeah.
Bunny ears. It just feels.
Sean Connery's rocking a fucking massive dick, and we'll talk about an actor with apparently massive dick in a review later on. It's an important plot point in a film. Sorry.
Yeah, it just feels really meaty and really.
I'm going to mute. Sorry, I'm just making noises at this point. This film's great. I'm going to mute though.
And just like a proper film. I think like the last time I think we said this about like a new release was when like Motherless Brooklyn came out. Like the kind of film that doesn't really get made anymore, where there's. I mean, it's quite slow paced for a movie that it's about what it's about.
It's an action film with barely an action in it.
Yeah, and I think it just carries you through the story, and I think that's real. It's real nice. It's nice to go back and watch older movies that back from when people used to know how to make movies properly. I think there's been a lot of disappointing shit out recently, and it's good sometimes to go back in time.
I mean, the with is the kind of real big like action set pieces in it are actually them negotiating that the Twin Thors pass.
Yeah.
And him getting on the submarine.
Yeah.
They're your two big action set pieces. But the majority of the action is in the tension of, the conversations that they're having, where basically they're very much a live or die thing at submarines. If you get hit in one, you're almost certainly going to die. There's that element to it, and the fact that you are literally flying blind.
I do like the fact that Jack Ryan's a bit fucking useless at the actiony shit as well. Like, they've not made him an action star. He's a bit shit at the stuff where he has to do physical stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's not his
No,
thing.
he's an analyst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like...
And they... Sorry.
No, go on.
No, that's one of the things that certainly in one of the later Jack Ryan films, they palpably make the character less interesting by having him be basically automatically good at the action-y stuff.
Yeah. Like the bit where he's going down the ladder, he's just a bit shit at that.
Yeah.
And it happens, he drops off, he's in the water, he has to be saved. Like, you wouldn't get that with an action...
No.
Like someone playing a Jack Ryan now.
No, he literally would have just jumped out of the plane and just went straight down the fucking...
Superhero landing on the fucking top of the sub or something.
Yeah.
So I liked it for that. He's an analyst. He wouldn't be good at that. It adds a layer of realism.
I really like the layer of realism to it. The fact that when he jumps out of the helicopter, the pilot goes, "Right, that's him done. Fuck off," and they just fly the fuck off.
Leave him be. Yeah.
Which that's realistic.
Yeah.
It's look, we've done our thing. I'm not crashing this to try and fuck you about with this dickhead.
Yeah. He's their problem now.
Yeah.
So yeah, really. Really good.
Yeah, it's just a really good watch. So really it's a proper nourishing. Just this is just good watching. This is just this is the perfect amount of time to spend with a really good film. It's 2.5 hours long. I don't feel that. If you'd have told me this was 100 minutes long, I'd have been like, yeah. Yeah, probably. But it's over 2 hours.
Yeah.
But it just the fun of it is in the engagement between the characters.
Yeah, definitely. Strong performance from Connery as well. I think he can be ropey when he...
Well, I'm very hit and miss with Connery.
Yeah.
I'm more miss than I am hit. But it's a very big hit with this, yeah.
Oh, poor Sam Neill.
Yep, just wanted to go to Montana.
Never got to meet his round woman.
Nope. Well, I did put out a poll for this. Different to our normal polls. Becky, because you're not on Twitter anymore.
No.
But it was titled "Random 34-Year-Old Film," where I'm going to feature review anyway because it's our show. Damn it! Hunt for October. 100%.
Yeah.
Definitely not shit. 100%.
100% definitely not shit.
Boom.
Which is kind of fair, I think. Ian, what have you been watching?
Okay, so yes, as I say, I watched the other Jack Ryan films as well. I'm very settling into my dad movie era, quite frankly. So we got the two Harrison Ford ones, both directed by Philip Noyce, Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger. Where obviously Harrison Ford is playing older, he's more established. In fact, in Patriot Games, he's kind of like gone through the other side. And he's left the CIA to spend more time with his family. He saves an English lord played by James Fox. And basically, it becomes the target of Sean Bean, who's like a rogue IRA guy who is more militant than Sinn Féin are being, and he just really wants to kill Jack Ryan.
Oh, he's heavily into the cause, isn't he?
Oh yeah. And this is good. It's it's more personal. It's got a title card at the start and Richard Harris as Paddy O'Brien, which is just incredible. And Richard Harris is great. He's only in a few scenes and he absolutely rocks it. But yeah, this isn't like world stakes. It's not massive conspiratorial stuff. It's just a tight thriller. And then you've got Clear and Present Danger, which is getting on for 2.5 hours long. And it's Henry Czerny basically doing shit hidden from the CIA. So now Jack's back in the CIA, and he's standing in for his boss, played by James Earl Jones, through all three of these films, while he's getting cancer treatment. And... he doesn't know about these covert missions to try and destroy the drug trade. And Willem Dafoe plays this operative who's kind of setting up all these missions. But then the drug trade people find out that the Americans have been doing sneaky covert shit, which, if it was discovered that it was the Americans, would be... like an international meltdown. So then Henry Czerny has to side with the drug guys and it's really conspiracy all over the place kind of stuff, and it's just it's quite overblown. It's enjoyable, but it's not as tight. There's not as much character stuff as there certainly is in The Hunt for Red October, and the kind of is in Patriot Games.
John Milius wrote it as well, didn't he?
Sorry?
John Milius wrote it as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did a pass on it. Yeah. But there's it's got a really interesting ending though. So like spoiler for the end of Clear and Present Danger, where it's the president basically going, right, okay, we fucked up, but you stick with me and we'll go places. And Jack Ryan's like, no, I'm going to a Senate hearing and I'm going to tell them the truth. And the president's like, no, you're not. Ryan's like, yes, I am. And then it ends with literally the Senate hearing and Jack Ryan's about to stand up and basically speak truth to power, and then the credits start rolling. And, it's such an interesting... yeah, things are probably going to be all right there, but, what's actually going to happen ending, which felt weirdly... I don't know. It's not... You get the triumphant moment of Jack Ryan basically shouting down the president, saying you can't do this. So that's the triumphant moment, but he doesn't get that moment in the Senate. And it was a bit because that shit probably, doesn't happen in real life, there was something interesting about that choice. So, Patriot game, Hunt for Red October, brilliant. Patriot games, really, really solid. Clear and Present Danger, good enough watch, quite long. Need more Willem Dafoe as well, to be fair. So then you got Sum of All Fears, which I think is actually all right. This it's rebooting things. So Ben Affleck is Jack Ryan, and he's just started going out with his future wife, and he's pulled into this missing nuclear warhead. Where is it? Kind of thing by Morgan Freeman. But it's again got a bit more of the Hunt for Red October vibe.
Yeah, I watched this last year, I think.
Yeah. And spoiler for the Sum of All Fears. About an hour in, they drop basically a nuclear bomb is detonated at the Super Bowl. Very, very intense. Notably, this was released, I think it's in 2001, but pre 9/11. Holy shit, this film would have got kicked to the curb if it was released after 9/11. But it does some good shit at the end, where again, it's got Hunt for Red October vibes of trying to get someone on the other side to trust you. And it's not a big action sequence. It's just, let me talk to this person and hope that they believe me. And that's cracking. That's a really good, suspenseful ending that isn't just CG shit blowing up all over the place. Because you know what? They exploded a fucking bomb at the Super Bowl. You maybe can't get more bloody hell than that, so they don't try. So yeah, Sum of All Fears. It's not bad. It's all right.
The bomb going off is a real fucking cold shot as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's interesting because it's a bunch of shots of people at the Super Bowl, including kids, and then it cuts to Ryan's girlfriend working in a hospital, and then there's just the windows crashing,
and it basically goes black and white almost, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's silent, and it's there's no music or anything. It's just the sound. I can't remember whether it's black and white, but it is very matter of fact.
Yeah, it's not quite black and white, but it basically just goes almost like a grayscale.
Yeah. So interesting choices in the Sum of All Fears. And Affleck's good in it as well. Okay, and then you got Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit. So this is the one directed by Kenneth Branagh. Almost kind of doing a trial for his role in Tenet. It's very odd. He plays a Russian billionaire who is dying, who is conspiring to blow up a big bomb.
That does sound.
It's Tenet. It's kind of wild, actually. But yeah, so this one, he is recruited, I think, before it says Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit at the start. And it's literally Kevin Costner going you're going to be my guy on the inside in the CIA. You're going to be working for me, but working for this bank and blah, blah, blah. And they've established that 9/11 happened, and so he was a Marine. So it's Alec Baldwin's character, his version of it, was also in the Marines, but he's also not exactly bumbling, but like you guys said earlier on, it's not exactly as if he's an action hero. In this, he is just an action hero, like, basically from the start.
Yeah.
He's immediately like the fully formed Jack Ryan. And they do try, like, after he kills this assassin in a hotel room, he is just like, holy shit, I shouldn't be here, I'm just an analyst. But at the same time, he did just take down an assassin. And it just, yeah. Also, Keira Knightley as Kathy, she's decent. There's also she provides a kind of like a key for him to work out what's going on, and that felt a little bit bringing the wife along on your adventure, are you, mate? I don't know, it was a bit of a weird...
It was a little bit in that phase, and I think she's even admitted herself, Keira Knightley, this, where she was Keira Knightley in things.
Yeah, and she's very Keira Knightley in this. But it is just a pretty bland action movie. Like, it's not terrible, and it feels short as well. I think it's about 1:45. Like, it's not very substantial. It is like, you go to here and then you do this and then that's going to happen and then the end of film. It doesn't really ever settle. It doesn't have time for character. The Sum of All Fears barely does, but there's enough of it, and it's got these moments like the relationship that Affleck has with this Russian guy in The Sum of All Fears. There's like a couple of scenes there that's interesting. You don't really have any of that in Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit. It's just, he's a badass. Watch him be a badass, but occasionally go, but I'm just an analyst.
It was very much their kind of like, it was Jack Ryan trying to do Jason Bourne.
Yeah, very, very much, yeah. But yeah, there you go, Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit. So, they're not bad films overall, but it is a little bit stop trying to make Jack Ryan happen. And obviously, we just had, like, I think 3 seasons of a fucking Krasinski.
Oh, Amazon fucking really want you to watch that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think anyone has.
Not quite. Right, I'm going to leave it there. I have others, but I'm going to leave it there because I've got about 25 minutes and we still need to review another film.
Yeah.
So I'll carry on next week. So we are now going to talk about Drive Away Dolls, which is directed by Ethan Coen and stars Margaret Qualley, Geraldine Viswanathan, and I know I've pronounced that wrong and I'm sorry, Beanie Feldstein, Joey Slotnick, CJ Wilson, Coleman Domingo, Pedro Pascal, Bill Camp, and spoiler alert for Drive Away Dolls, all spoilers all the time, Matt Damon as a senator with a really big dick. Okay, or a really good dick. If you haven't seen Drive Away Dolls, you don't know what I'm talking about there. Right. Jamie regrets breaking up with her girlfriend while Marion needs to relax. In search of a fresh start, they embark on an unexpected road trip to Tallahassee. Things quickly go awry when they cross paths with a group of inept criminals. Mark, what do you think to Drive Away Dolls?
I didn't hate my time with it as such, but it's barely a film at points. Films need to stop making their principal characters unlikable. It's... I think
who was unlikable? Sorry.
Marion.
Okay.
I just thought she was a dickhead. I just thought she was an unpleasant person. I get what Margaret Qualley is doing. She's very much acting as if she's in a Coen film. And I thought there was very strong, I've said this to you, vibes of Nick Cage in Raising Arizona. There's definite vibes of that. Of look, I'm gonna go for something, and you've kind of got to go with it. You know, Nick Cage has always said that essentially his character in Raising Arizona is what if Woody Woodpecker was a person. Genuinely, that's what he has said about it.
Nice.
So I get that. I can see why there is criticism from the queer community of the film.
Definitely.
Because when you come out this vociferously and talk about a film that is a queer story, it's not. It's not. The fact that you have two lesbian characters in it has no...
They seem to be equating the fact that there's gay sex in it with it being a gay story movie, and it's not. There's nothing unique to the story that
they could be. They could be not.
You could have a heteronormative.
Yeah. And it wouldn't change a single thing of the story, other than there'd be less kind of like, look what we're showing you, and it's a bit. I found it a little bit. I'm surprised it's made by an Oscar-winning director and writer.
Yeah.
In his 60s, thought that this was a good idea and this was a story that him and his partner, his wife, who is gay, and like we said earlier in the thing, that, you know, their relationship is their relationship, they make it work, good for them. But you've got, she's in her late 50s, he's in, I think, his early 60s.
I would argue that only a couple of older, bougie, champagne socialists could make this movie and think it's got any kind of social value.
Yeah, and it was a little bit like that. It feels a little bit just really like, if you'd have said at any point, if you'd have shown somebody this movie and then said, look, this is what happens to one of the Coen brothers, you'd have gone, right, what the fuck happened in between to make it go this wrong?
Yeah.
And there wasn't anything. It's a real oddity in the sense that I didn't dislike it as such. I mean, apart from whenever Bernie Feldstein was on the screen, I outright fucking hated it. But I didn't dislike it at any point. I just thought for me it's just a real big shrug of a movie. Just a...
Sure, that was there.
Yeah. Did you not have a better idea?
It's really underwritten as well. Like, the story's so weak.
There's no story.
There isn't really. It's like they've... it feels a little bit lechy to me. Like they've wanted to make... I don't know. Like, they've wanted to make a sexy movie, but the sex scenes aren't sexy, but also they know they have to have some kind of story in there, so there's also some fucking plaster cast cocks in a briefcase. It feels really immature and childish and reductive. You know, you've got, in a week that you've got like Kristen Stewart coming out and saying, I think it's really important, the work we've done towards making queer representation in cinema more, these are people, this is their life, they happen to be gay. And then you get this that's just like, oh, look at these gay people, aren't they fucking horny all the time? Look at them have sex. It just feels really pathetic and icky to me. Like, there's been such a move away from that representation in cinema that it's just like, oh, we're back here, are we? Oh, it's you. Okay. Yeah, you're real old.
So I enjoyed it. I bought what Margaret Qualley was selling, and I know not everybody does. And I thought it it just had quite a loose tone to it. However, it's loose to the point that it is barely a film. It feels incredibly insubstantial, and I don't think the film ever tries to say that it's going for anything substantial. It kind of reminded me of Burn After Reading in that way, of just how almost kind of like tossed off it is.
Almost like I always thought that Burn After Reading was almost a little bit like the Coen brothers going, "Oh, you want a Coen-y movie, dear? We're going to make something that's so Coen-y." Again, Bunny is a podcast, Coen-y, that you're actually going to watch it and go, "I don't really like this."
I don't remember that film at all.
It's not bad.
It's just, it was their follow-up to No Country for Old Men. And then it's that.
But then their follow-up to Fargo was The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, but the Big Lebowski's a classic.
Yeah, but nobody liked it at the time.
Nobody liked it at the time, yeah. But, yeah, I thought the Central Pair were all right. I quite enjoyed their dynamic. I thought Bill Camp as Curly, he was cracking.
The best bit in it is his final line. Why would anyone save Curly?
Yeah, bless him.
Yeah, but fucking yeah. So it's got those kinds of Coen-y moments, and like the two goons, and how like
didn't you feel a little bit
the
like
one
they were
just
bad versions of Steve Buscemi and Peter Stormare from Fargo?
Yeah, I mean, potentially, but I like Coleman Domingo. I thought he was good value, and I thought like him, just his whole exposition about what's actually going on. It was like the plaster caster woman making dildos of famous people. I thought that was an entertaining concept.
That she's actually based on a real person.
Cynthia Plastercaster.
Yeah, but it was mostly musicians, wasn't it? That she made casts of.
I mean, I just thought those kinds of ideas were funny, but then at the same time, some of the transitions between scenes are student film level. That kind of the extended psychedelic stuff. Okay, it culminates in the kind of explaining what's actually going on with Matt Damon and Miley Cyrus. But it all that stuff felt like, oh fucking hell, we're at like 78 minutes. How do we pad this out? We'll just do some psychedelic stuff just to boost it by a few minutes. Like, it doesn't feel like there's any deleted scenes. This is exactly what they were doing. But yeah, I don't know. It's a queer in bunny ears road trip film directed by a dude in his 60s in the same period of time where you've got Love Lies Bleeding, which just feels more vital and essential. And apparently Trisha Cook and Ethan Coen are planning on doing a trilogy. I doubt Focus will be giving them any money to do that trilogy, given how poorly this is done. But like I say, I enjoyed my time with it, but also it's one of those ones where it's how did anyone expect to like make any money from it?
I'll tell you, Margaret Qualley, sex scenes. That's how people thought they were going to make a little bit more of it.
The fact that they're wildly overacted sex scenes, though, kind of detracts any...
It does, and that's entirely intentional, and I get the fact that they're doing what they're doing there. And I think everybody in it, Beanie Feldstein excluded, is good.
Oh, yeah. I think it's a really good performance from Margaret Qualley, to be honest. I think I don't like the character.
Interesting performance.
she's got a good
She's got a live.
energy
Yeah.
to her. She's compelling to watch. I even think like she's a shitty character and she's a pain in the arse, and I wouldn't like to know her in real life. But the performance of Marion is good. She's just not a great person. Coleman Domingo, yep, fine. Curly, fine. Everyone's fine in it. It's just what?
I'm just thinking, Curly deserves to be in a better Coen movie.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
You know, I think I said when we were talking about Red I was like looking forward to it a few weeks ago, and Bill Camp's in there, and Bill Camp always makes everything better because he's Bill Camp. But even the interaction he has with the two goons, where he's talking to them and he's answering everything in this like literal way, is great. That's really fun.
Yeah.
That's it.
Better. I was rooting for this. I thought it was going to be really good.
I think there's enough in it for me, and it's also short enough that it didn't test my patience. But like I say, it is utterly inessential. And where films seem to have a harder and harder time getting a big screen release, I almost feel like there's a bit of, I don't know, Coen, maybe try a little harder.
Yeah,
just because you're a Coen brother, you're going to get a theatrical release. It kind of feels like that means that a more vital queer story is not going to get a theatrical release. And also the fact this is done badly means, and Love Lies Bleeding, it expanded this weekend, has not done great. It's just going to tell studios, don't do these stories, and that's a shame.
That's it. This has been pitched so heavily as a queer story, and it is not. Whereas Love Lies Bleeding, I haven't seen it, but from very much like from everything I read about it, it seems like it very much is. There's an element of the reason for why this is not performed is going to be blamed on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And that is a shame. And it's not even like a the thing is, queer cinema doesn't necessarily have to come from a queer background.
I think it helps.
It helps if you're telling a queer story. It helps in that way, but it isn't. Again, I saw Kristen Stewart speaking about it, and she was saying it's not like every queer story has to only be filled with queer actors.
No,
that's not what I'm saying. And she was very adamant about that. But it's just, you're going to have, like I think Ian said it there, stories that might have something to say on a point, not get made or not get seen as easily because studios went, actually we took a bit of a swing on that and it didn't land, and it's not because of that.
I feel like I want black stories to be told by black filmmakers. I want queer stories to be told by queer filmmakers, and specifically with like queer, because I think there's even less, there's going to be less opportunity for those kinds of stories to actually make that kind of cultural impact of having a theatrical release. And I feel the same for black stories as well. Like that, so I'm even more. Okay, fine. If you're gonna have to have hetero people in your queer stories, then so be it. But where there's going to be even more limited space in the future, I'd rather that it defaulted to queer filmmakers and actors in queer films. But the business is the business. But
I think from writing and directing, creating the story, I think is important.
That's
Acting's acting.
The problem is you leave it open to the argument that will be put against it of being, well, hang on a minute, so can gay actors not play straight characters now? And unfortunately, there's a. I'm not saying that I agree with that premise, by the way, but it's acting is acting.
Yeah,
you've got to have that. But yeah, writing and directing and things like that. There's that. If it's a specific story that is about that, but what things like Driveway Dolls make me appreciate is, do you know what? American Fiction might be a better movie than I thought it was.
Yeah, fair.
I just going back to the point, because I feel I'm not explaining myself very well. It's the fact that there are many more opportunities for people of any sexual preference to be in films about hetero relationships. That, there just aren't as many opportunities for queer relationships to be portrayed on screen. And if, I'm not saying this is right, but if it's that people will take them more seriously if they're queer filmmakers and queer actors behind them, then fine. I don't know. Like, it's just between this and something like Bros, which was one of the worst films of 2022. It was an awful film, and it had nothing to do with the fact that it centered gay actors or queer actors, because
my issue still remains with Bros is the characters in it were unlikable, and it baited you to not like it.
That lead guy, thankfully I can't remember his name. Such a fucking dickhead, and he wrote it as well. Just his personality completely infects that whole film, and it just like, you do not. Why would you want to spend time with him? Who gives a fuck if he's gay? He's a dickhead.
You can, yeah. You being gay is an excuse for being a dickhead.
No. Yeah, but look, I thought this was all right. It is inessential, and like I say, I feel like it's gonna do more harm than good for future queer stories getting a big screen release, and that's a real shame.
Unless Love Lies Bleeding. When's that out over here?
I think it's out over here in May, I want to say, but it's done okay numbers, but like just really, really okay.
That just smacks of a film that's going to do better in Europe.
Yeah, that's potentially.
It just does smack of a film that's going to do better in Europe than it will do in the US.
It did 2.5 million on just under on 1,362 screens. That's not great.
No. 3rd of May it comes out over here.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, look, I thought this was definitely not shit.
I'm touching cloth on it. I don't think it's shit. I don't think it's shit, but I think it's saved by the fact that the performances in it are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's shit.
Fair play. Our audience poll, definitely not shit.
Part of that, just FYI, part of that is for the damage it will do.
Oh, that's fair. Definitely not shit, 0%. Touching cloth, 33%. Shit, 50%. And Geostorm, 17%. We do have questions. I'm going to find them. Rick Kidd, if you had to cut back on your streaming services and subscriptions, which one would go first? Starting to think it might be Netflix for me.
Yeah, I'm Netflix as well. It's got nothing of value really on there. They don't add new stuff apart from originals. It's just a bit shit. And then if you get really into a TV series, they fucking cancel it after a season.
Fair. Ian?
If we're talking me specifically,
yeah,
I mean Amazon Prime's right there.
Is that because Amazon Prime's virtually impossible to find anything on, and then when you do, you go, "What the fuck is Freevee?"
Yes.
Yeah. No, yeah. Do you want to watch this with ads? Because if you do, then freebie. But also you have to now watch this with ads here as well, unless you give us like an extra $3.99 a month.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazon Prime is right behind Netflix for the ads, for the shitty UI. I just think it's got a better selection of movies than Netflix.
I'm going to say Amazon Prime. Netflix is running it close, but Disney Plus ain't far behind.
Yeah, they're all a bit shit at the moment.
Disney Plus for me, because they are literally sat on a fucking huge library that they can give you that they're not gonna.
Yeah.
And it feels a little bit like, why aren't more of those movies on there? Oh, we just don't want to. Well, I'm fucking paying you, dickhead. So yeah, I'd say that.
None of them are covering themselves in glory at the moment.
No, they're not doing very well. Ethan M. Barr, happy St. Patrick's Day. If you were to watch an Irish film this week, what would be your go-to?
That's really easy for me because I'm really jonesing to rewatch Belfast.
Fair.
Oh, God, that's a hell of a question, that.
It is, isn't it?
I didn't see that.
Does Dead Man's Shoes count?
No.
In that?
Irish?
No, it's not Irish.
Is it not?
No.
I thought it was.
No. Ooh. I mean, it wouldn't be my go-to, but I've been wanting to rewatch In the Name of the Father. Because it's a very good film, but it's just it's a weighty watch.
Oh, The Secret of Kells. I love The Secret of Kells. Could really depress yourself, watch the Magdalene Sisters.
I mean, you could really depress yourself by watching In the Name of the Father.
I don't really know what that is.
I mean, I'm absolutely looking at Google here and trying to find some. I think What Richard Did is a really, really interesting film.
Yeah.
Like, pretty upsetting as well. But yeah, What Richard Did Once. I quite like Once. That John, whatever his name is, I enjoy his films. Sing Street as well. That's a fucking banger. That's a good film.
To round off a trilogy of music ones, Commitments can be thrown in there.
Commitments is really good.
Dylan Black Lanterns. If you were to pick a subject for 100% candid, warts and all, behind the scenes look at the film industry, making of a movie or event, what would it be? I'd go for the death of Natalie Wood. That's a fucking strong shout.
It's a fucking depressing shout. Wow,
it's a strong shout, but yeah.
Yeah. Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer in the 80s.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I just want cocaine all over the place.
Yeah. Bex?
I haven't a clue. I don't know. I'd need more time to think about that one. I don't get access to these questions until in the moment, do I?
No, you don't.
You have to start like screenshotting them and forwarding them to me.
I might do. I've got a couple, but I think I'm gonna go for. Just give me 2 seconds. I need to make sure I get this right. Nope. Give me 2 seconds. My brain's gone dead. When your brain can't think of something.
Often, yeah.
It's not my brain can think of something, it's my brain keeps getting the wrong film.
Your brain's an idiot, though. It's like a hamster gnawing on a toilet tube.
It's a fair play.
That's good.
Heaven's Gate. Just the making of Heaven's Gate.
Oh, that's a good idea.
What?
Isn't that already a thing?
There's a book. I've got the book, the weighty book.
The weighty book.
Yeah. But I'd want just a full fucking warts and all of talking to because at some point literally everybody was involved in that or affected by that in some fucking way. And so yeah, so full blown fucking warts and all, let's look at what happened there would be, it's basically Michael Cimino just going down an ego rabbit hole. You could also throw in add the same to Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
There. I know you've got Hearts of Darkness, but that was literally made by his wife.
Yeah.
But
not exactly unbiased, is it?
It's not, but also it doesn't exactly paint him in a great light. He's often just
So how
sat...
much worse was it in real life?
He's often just sat shirtless, fucking coked off his fucking mind, talking about how much of a genius he is.
Great.
Yeah, but yeah, that was it. That was it for our question. Ian, what are we covering next week?
Okay, so next week... oh, God. Yeah, next week.
So excited.
Me too.
Yeah, no, it's... fucking hell. Yeah, alright, so... We've got Doug Lyman's JKG, Conor McGregor remake Roadhouse.
Oh my god, is that out next week?
Roadhouse is out next week.
Oh, fives.
Um,
I'm double excited.
if we get to it, the Sydney Sweeney non-film Immaculate.
No, I'm not going to do that.
I might.
Okay, so I'll tell you what, Bex.
Go on.
If I do Immaculate, and then you guys do Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, then we've got a deal.
Are you really that opposed to it?
Oh, no, I'm not, because, like, it's the guy who directed Monster House and City of Ember, but he also co-wrote Ghostbusters Afterlife, and, like, he's best mates with Jason Reitman. Jason Reitman. Oh, by the way, you said on Oscarbation about, like, triplets. Do you know why triplets isn't happening?
Go on.
Because Jason Reitman shit-canned it after Ivan Reitman died.
I did, yeah.
Arnie came out and said, like, it's not happening because Jason doesn't want it to happen.
That's right, he did, yeah.
What a piece of shit.
What? Well, we already knew he was a piece of shit. No, he's a fucking piece of shit.
So there you go.
Still think Frozen, whatever the fuck it's called, looks good.
I mean, like, James Acaster's in there as a new Harold Ramis. So, there's that. I don't know, just like the poster's just like Paul Rudd at the front and centre of the Ghostbusters, and just like over the next week or so, we're going to get so many fucking videos with like GQ or Vanity Fair or something about Paul Rudd and Ghostbusters, and I just can't be fucking arsed. I can't be arsed.
That's fair.
There you go, that killed the energy, didn't it? Right, do you know what? Fuck off, everybody. Bye.
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 Gil Keenan, Jason Reitman. Look what you made me do. I was just really horrible to our listeners there, and they didn't deserve that. That's what you fucking do to me.